So today I'm going to be discussing the streaming wars and some of the effects that it's going to have on audience members. A big part of this is that during the pandemic, the streaming wars were really escalated because there was much more of a need for different platforms and different content. So the top media monsters were no longer the only ones in competition. There was a lot of new companies and new programs that were being spread across the streaming world in various ways to keep up with the demand for new content and different ways to stream. This means that as media is expanding, companies do need to become more creative in how they're going to obtain subscribers, and those new methods and creativity is going to have an effect on the audience because things are changing and now there are different ways to obtain subscriptions as well as watch your specific shows. I want to discuss where the streaming industry is going to be heading for consumers, and I want to talk about what this is going to mean for us in the future when we are dealing with different subscriptions, needing to have different options, and what that is going to look like for consumers that need various platforms in order to watch specific shows. There are so many more options and competition for the streaming industry and the TV industry because growth in this industry has been astronomical, especially since COVID. It has really just taken off, and there are so many different ways that you can stream now, and content has been scattered due to this expansion of the industry, and that can be hard to navigate for consumers sometimes. So you might need different subscription options. You might have to have different platforms. There might be different prices for content that you're trying to watch. There are just so many different options in the industry nowadays. I want to talk about what TV content looked like before streaming became popular. And you might recognize Blockbuster, but this was a major business that held most of the content for TV, movies, programs. You went to Blockbuster to rent a DVD or a movie or even buy your content, and there was no way to stream from an online source. You had to go in store and you had to rent or buy these shows, and within some time going by, Blockbuster ended up going out of business because Netflix was created. And the way Netflix started was they had the option to rent a DVD, but you had to have a subscription and then the DVD was sent to your house. So that started in 1999. And by 2007, Netflix made the switch to pretty much fully online as a subscription. And how that worked was you would no longer had to have DVDs delivered to your house. You could have your subscription and you could access a bunch of different content simply from using your computer or your TV. Everything was online. And as you are all probably familiar, this method has improved vastly. And as time and trends have continued to expand, Netflix has definitely expanded. They have such a huge base of content now, and they have obviously upgraded and raised their prices, but with that comes more access to different shows, Netflix exclusive shows. They've really paved the way in the streaming world, and they were the ones to start it, and now it's kind of turned into a lot of different stations, TV networks, different companies all wanting to hop onto this streaming trend. So this slide is a really good way to show you how much progress we've made in this industry from 2007 all the way until 2021, and even now in 2022 there's even more different networks and ways to stream, but you can see on the left side there were really three major contenders, and they all still are present in today's era. But you can see just how much growth there's been and how many different ways and options you have to stream. which can make it very difficult to keep track of your subscriptions, what you need in order to watch certain shows. It's gotten very advanced. Since there have been so many new developments and new options for streaming being created, this means that a lot of these companies want to reclaim their original content that you might have seen had a contract with a different company prior to them creating their network. So an example of this would be The Office. I can remember always watching The Office on Netflix, and recently NBC decided to reclaim their contract and their ownership over The Office. So now you can only view The Office on Peacock, which is NBC's streaming platform that they've created. And this is very common with a lot of TV shows, movies. A lot of these companies are taking back their rights, and you have to navigate the streaming world in order to access the content that you might have had access to from Netflix or Hulu in the past. I know, for example, iCarly is going to be removed from Netflix this month, and that is no longer going to be an option for your Netflix subscription. So this makes it a little tricky because, like, for example, with The Office, you have to subscribe to Peacock in order to access The Office's seasons. So you no longer have that privilege throughout Netflix anymore. One thing that is really shifting in these streaming platforms is how these subscriptions are now being configured. There's a lot of emphasis on advertising and what the price is going to be versus ad-free, ads included, some ads. It's all changing drastically. So you can kind of see from this example different platforms and how much they're charging per month, which is ad-free, how much content you have available on those platforms. So this gets to be confusing because, for example, Peacock offers a free base. So their model is you can watch some of their content for free, but if you want to purchase their plan, you can have brief ads or you can pay even more to have no ads. So they're kind of paving the way for not needing to pay at all to access their content, which can be convenient because when you're someone who wants to watch different shows, you don't want to have 5 different subscriptions in order to access individual titles that you are interested in. So Netflix is a very big company and they have ad-free watching. They have raised their prices, but they are fully ad-free. And Hulu has an ad-free option, but they have different ranges for their prices. I thought this was a clever little meme, pretty much talking about how Netflix lost the rights for The Office and how that might be disappointing for customers. The question that needs to be answered is, what direction is streaming heading for consumers? I know personally, as a media and streaming user, I would love to have all my content in one place. And that is the way a lot of people feel about this industry. And according to Munson, successful aggregation of content and services will produce an improved sticky customer experience and will drive subscription and ad revenue options. So potentially this is the path that streaming needs to head towards, because a lot of these services need to start being more aware of what their consumers want, and instead of having multiple subscriptions, people want to be able to access all their content in one place. It would just make the world of a difference.